Quote, how ready are the students for project-based learning? How comfortable am I with it? How can I work with the existing school schedule? End quote. Those are three really important things to consider. Like, I had students who would come into the classroom and who had been doing project-based learning for a long time, so this was very easy for them to be able to jump into. Other students who were brand new to it needed some more guidance, some more hand-holding, because they were unsure what this looked like. They're used to the activities-based or task-based things that they had to do in their other classes, and when they came into here and have this like large project that took several weeks or months to work on, they might be like, I don't know what this is. I haven't experienced this before. Now, to be completely candid, most of my instructional experience was related to activity-based stuff as a student. And so when I started teaching, I was used to that as well. The curriculum that I was mandated to teach in the first district that I was in, everything was just a series of lessons that were designed for a single day. Aside from some kind of a connecting theme for units, like, hey, we're going to do this month on rhythm or this month on folk dancing or whatever, there wasn't really much connection from one lesson to the next. And there certainly wasn't one thing that we focused on over the course of a month or semester. So it wasn't until I did my residency that I really kind of saw what project-based learning looked like, because I was a TA for a class with one of the authors on this paper. I learned so much just from watching somebody else facilitate a project, and then I went, oh, this is what learning can look like? It was honestly a profound experience. And so I TA'd that class multiple times so I could see how the professor changed things over time, how to modify for newer, different topics, etc. So when I started doing project-based learning with coding, I had already had a couple of years of experience with this and saw what it could look like, and continue to learn from different people like, well, what is rhizomatic learning? How does that relate to project-based learning? So that leads more into, okay, what if students had 3 projects they could choose from instead of just 1? Or what if it was 30 projects that they could come up with instead of just like picking from 3? It was a very gradual thing for me. I didn't just jump into project-based learning right away. So if you're listening to this and going, I don't know, this sounds intimidating, I totally get that. I was there, which is why it's important to think about how comfortable are you with this? Where along that continuum of openness do you want to head into? Do you want to start with a single project? Or are you okay just jumping in the deep end and going straight rhizomatic learning where there's 30 projects going on simultaneously, potentially with multiple programming languages in your class? There's no right or wrong way of doing it, but if you are brand new to it, I'd probably start off with just a single project that everyone does, with the full understanding that it might not be interesting to everybody in your class, which is, again, why I eventually led to the interest-based project-based learning through rhizomatic learning. And then the last one is just a very realistic thing in terms of like existing school schedules. Like, if you are required by admin to have students turn in a portfolio of completed works, not just in-process works, then this could have a constraint on things in terms of, okay, well, how often do I see students? Is it for a quarter? Is it for a semester? Is it for an entire year? When are those like portfolios due? At the end, somewhere in the middle? Are there progresses that you have to do throughout? Because I didn't have to do that, I just had to assign a grade, and that grade was basically, are you in here working on something? And if you are, cool, you get an A. If you weren't, well then, hey, we got to talk about why you aren't creating something that you're interested in. So because of that, some students would spend a couple days or a couple weeks or a couple months or literally a couple years doing the same project. That allowed for that exploration of interest at a pace that worked well for the students who were in those classes. But you might not have that ability because you have a stricter schedule or different admin or whatever. So considering the scope when you're doing this is an important step to do. This excerpt of the CSK8 podcast is from episode number 194, which is titled Bringing Curriculum to Life: Enacting Project-Based Learning in Computer Science Programs. You can listen to the full episode as well as hundreds more by searching for the CSK8 podcast or by simply going to jaredoleary.com.